Welcome to another episode of Brick Condo. My name is Petra, and today we are going to do a really cool interview with a friend of mine from Seattle. But before we are going to go in there, I would like to talk about a little bit about the show and Brick Condo, what you can expect there. So Brick Condo has just started this month, and it is basically a channel to really talk about Lego and my hobby Lego, and it's really definitely a hobby, but I want to make this a little bit of a community thing. So I asked some friends of mine to talk to me and just hang out and have some really good time. I actually started building Lego. Well, of course, as a kid, I did that, but now at the later age, about 4 years ago, my first new Lego set is actually the Ucs Snow Speeder. That is 4 years ago. Actually, I have it in the studio. I can actually show it very briefly. There it is, right there. That is a Snow Speeder right there. It is the very first one that I bought, and I was like, nah, that's it. That's the only one that I'm really interested in, and that's it. That's basically it. Then later, I purchased another one, which would be the UCS Slave One. Boba Fett. I mean, one of my favorite characters. And then from there, it took a turn, and it went even worse and worse and worse. I got the Millennium Falcon, all kinds of stuff, really out of hand. And this year, it actually went all over the board, because I actually thought that this year would be the first year that I would buy all of the Star Wars sets, and I'm pretty almost there. So we will be talking about that, of course, in the VODs, or the video on demand, what it's called, on the show, reviews, etc. But again, I really like to go into some interviews with some people, like just hanging out. I call it an interview, but really it's not that. It's just hanging out with some friends. So today we're going to talk about with Dave, but let's start the show officially. Okay, so now that the show is officially started, we can actually introduce the guest of the show, and that is nobody less than Dave Peterson. What's up, Dave? How are you?
Hey there. Hey, Petra, glad to be here.
Yeah,
that is quite an opening. I like that opening on your show.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. So, yeah, I thought it would be cool to just hang out with you. I mean, we have been, I believe, friends for about 3-4 years now. Been around in your community also. We'll talk about that definitely. And also, I know that you are a Lego fan. I do recall something about the Millennium Falcon that we bought roughly at the same time, I guess, which is really cool. But before we really talk about the Lego, let's just talk about you. Who are you, Dave, so that people know who you are, what you do for your living, that kind of stuff. Go.
Okay. Well, I live near Seattle, as you said. I've lived in the Pacific Northwest Washington State area all my life. And right now, what I'm doing for a living is I work for a company called Live Streaming Pros. And what we do is we train people to do live shows, not unlike this one right here.
Yeah,
and,
I have to admit that there is a kind of a link with Live Streaming Pros also with my show. It's a little bit there, just a little bit. Now, to be honest, the look and feel that you see on the show is roughly, that's done by Paul Dixon, who's also working for Live Streaming Pros, and also, of course, the learnings that I got from David Foster and Lori Petrucci. It's basically, it's all over the place on this show as well, even though this is a hobby show. I have to admit, this is a hobby. I'm not doing this for a living at all. This is just hanging out, but indeed, it's definitely based on what the learnings are from Live Streaming Pros. So
people do some of our our students are doing it for fun. A lot are doing it for business. Many different reasons to go live, but if people want to look the best they can, we've got ways to help them do that.
Exactly. So, and also, people, if you are watching the show, I can imagine that, if you look at that at later time, be aware that people can actually react to the show. So you can actually just pop up a comment like my dad did just recently. He said, "Hey, all, what's going on?" And it's really cool if you guys, if you're here, if you can just say hello. And also, if you're new to this channel, just say new, and that's all. We'll give you a quick shout out. That would be really cool. So, Dave, let's talk about your hobbies as well. And before we go into Lego, like I want to do is I want to know you a little bit more. Right? So you said you work for Live Streaming Pros, but I presume that you also have other hobbies than Lego. So can you tell a bit more about that?
So one big one that I put a lot of time into is comic books. I am a very serious comic book reader and collector. And I've been buying comics seriously for, let's say, about 30 years. And basically since college.
I have never understood that people are buying that much comics, but maybe it's also because it's bigger in the US than over here in Europe. Well, of course, we do have comics over here. I mean, we have Tintin is a big one over here, and Asterix. You probably have. I don't know if you have heard of him, but there's also a big one over here. There's a Belgian one. It's called Suske and Wiske, which is, I don't know if there's an American variant of it, but
I'm sure that one's familiar.
But there are quite a few of them that are huge. But as a comic collector, that's something that I'm really interested in to know why do you do that, and also are there like titles that you're most fond of?
I collect actually a wide range of stuff. Marvel, DC, lots and lots of independent publishers. It's been kind of interesting over the years seeing it go from the strictly, at least in America, the strictly superhero storylines to just about any story you can imagine being told with pictures as well as words.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some amazing artists working in the industry. And I have some favorites on that.
Mm-hmm.
One that I really like, who's a very popular American artist, is Alex Ross. He's doing a lot of painted covers. All of his stuff tends to be painted. He's doing, the last couple of years, he's been rotating around doing covers for most of the big Marvel titles.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you're talking about back. And you're talking about Spider-Man and
Spider-Man, Avengers. Think about all the ones that have had movies recently. He's doing Iron Man currently. If you think about big Marvel movie characters, he's probably done covers for their books.
That's awesome. And for you, it's more of a artist thing. So the look and feel of
the reading
picture.
too. It's the stories. I like the various stories, and there's a range of them. There are adventure stories. There are all kinds of things. There's a graphic novel that I picked up, but I haven't started to read yet, about the life of John Lewis, the civil rights leader who just recently died in this country.
Yeah.
And he collaborated on the writing of it. So it's a demonstration of how the genre, the format, can tell just about any story.
Yeah, Yeah.
And
So for me, that it was indeed in my mindset. It was more of a superhero thing, but it's definitely not anymore. It's also a bigger picture. It's also about the artistry. It's also about the stories perhaps as well. And I think of maybe also a bit of the collection. I mean, do you have like that you
yeah,
have all of the collections of some books?
I do the serious collecting thing less now than I used to,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a lot of comics. And at this point, I'm sort of looking at them as part of my retirement nest egg.
Oh, seriously? That
And
sounds serious.
oh,
Wow.
yeah, you buy a bunch of these every week for 30 years and don't get rid of them at the same rate. They do start to accumulate.
That's awesome. Absolutely great. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense, right? It does make perfect sense that it's a good investment. In between, my dad actually has a question, so wondering if Dave could elaborate on his role within live stream. I think that you did that, but just in case.
Okay. Yeah, I've actually been with Gloria Petrucci on her various ventures for about the last 15 years, going through all of the various shows she's done since the mid 2000s. What I am currently doing at Live Streaming Pros is largely marketing and handling the advertising. We do advertising on Facebook and YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and I manage that, and I put our ads together and decide who to show them to and try and generate more business for us.
That's it.
So that's the big part that I do right now.
You're a commercial guy. That's what. Well, it is a little bit, right?
Oh yeah. I tell my friends I'm a bean counter also.
Okay.
I take a look at our numbers every day and keep records of our numbers and report on them, and that's bean counting.
Yep. That's it. Well, yeah, it's a job. It's a job. So let's talk about the thing that we're here for, right? And that is Lego. I told you at the start of the show a little bit about me when I started collecting Lego again after being a kid. That's I mean, as a kid you collect Lego maybe, but as a grown up, can you bring us back to the moment that you decided that you wanted to, you know, well, you bought your first Lego set, so to speak, as a grown up, as in what they call AFOL.
As a kid, I did Legos, but Legos were just a bag of bricks, and you made whatever you wanted with them.
Yeah, yeah.
The new concept of buying a set and building it like a model to a plan. I first got into that in the mid 2000s, probably about 2005. I was working in an office at that time, and one of my coworkers was seriously into it. He was very, very, very big time. I wouldn't be surprised if he accidentally comes across this show. He was so into Lego. And I looked at, he'd sometimes have some of his stuff around his cubicle. And he had some cool, smallerish stuff, not giant stuff, but he did build, at that time, he'd built the Star Destroyer that was out in the mid-2000s. That was his big at-home thing that he was only allowed to keep up for a while, and that he had to take it down, I think, because it was taking so much space.
Because of his wife or his girlfriend or something?
Yeah, because of his wife. His wife let him keep it on a dining room table for a while, but
seriously, wow.
I had the distinct feeling he wasn't allowed to leave it there for years and years.
So that was back in 2005.
Yeah, like around 2005.
Yeah.
So I got interested in what was available, and I built my first Star Wars one, which was the TIE Interceptor. I've got it right here. 2006.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Awesome. A bit of blue, I see.
Yeah, it was kind of blue trim. That was sort of the way,
Yeah.
looking at the Star Wars Lego book, they had a UCS one out at about the same time. This is not the UCS. This was a scaled down, not a tiny one, but not a big one.
Yeah.
Mid-range model.
Like a playset.
And yeah. And that was my first one. And I liked it, and I did some others. I think my first larger one was the Tanta V4, what for years we called the Rebel Blockade Runner.
Yeah.
And that was one that they reissued with some changes quite recently, but I made the mid-2000s version of that, and I still have that on display in my house.
That's not the UCS one, right? That's like the play set, bigger set. I don't know.
Yeah, it's about I don't know, 20 inches long. It's, I think, about the same size as the one they just recently brought out.
Yep.
I don't know that it was called UCS at the time.
Yeah.
But so I did that one, and then I did another one that is still pretty much one of my favorites. I love the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
Millennium Falcon is huge, and that was an undertaking, and you know all about that one.
You're talking then specifically about the UCS Millennium Falcon, and I have to admit that we're talking abbreviations. So just for people that do not understand what UCS stands for, that's for Ultimate Collector Series, and basically they are big, huge ships with a lot of details, what we call greebling, and a lot of that kind of stuff, right?
So, like in the case of the Millennium Falcon, case of a lot of these large ones, I see the kit offered and I go, well, that's cool, but I need to know where it's going to go, or I'm going to build this giant thing and have no place to put it. So I always, when I know it's going to be a big kit, I try and block out a display space for it before I even allow myself to buy it. And that was the case with the Falcon. The night I figured out where I could put the Millennium Falcon, I ordered it.
Right.
And I made that one a couple of years ago, I think, 2018. Yeah, that was when I did that. Okay. So what I was working up to was the Y-Wing. It's the 2004 UCS Y-Wing, and that remains one of my favorites. I've got that one here. If I can
awesome.
Pull it up here.
Let me go to a bigger screen for that one. There you go. Ooh, yeah, that's one.
Ooh.
It's a lot of greebling there, I see. A lot of...
Yeah, it's got a lot of detail on it. I've always kind of liked the Y-Wing as a ship design, and this was a nice execution of that ship.
Nice.
And it's one that I still have on display. It sits on top of my laser printer, which makes a pretty nice model display pedestal.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Before we continue, I have some remarks, and that from people that are watching, like maybe just say hi to them quickly. I see Andy Dawson is in the house. He says, "Hey Petra, hey Dave P, what's going on, Andy? How are you?" Chris is in the house. Chris Erickson, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. He didn't know that you were a Lego fan. What the? Why? What?
Well, I've mildly talked Legos with Chris before, but he may not notice. I remember we were over at the house in Camas one time, and he was talking about, it was one of the off-brand companies that did, it sounded like pretty good models, but they weren't Lego, but they kind of were Lego.
What?
And he was telling me about it. I don't know. Chris would actually probably have an idea what it was. It's
Chinese.
I don't remember the brand name.
It's probably Chinese.
And it sounds like basically the whole brick layout is very much the same. It just doesn't say Lego on either stud.
Right. I see also that Kathleen is in the house. So for people that do not know, this is a bit of the
Kathleen.
community. So
These are all people I know.
yeah. Also, Chris, thank you for saying that. It seemed that we had an echo going on, but I fixed it when I saw it. So that was great that it's gone. And yeah, he loves. Kathleen loves the Y-Wing. It seems. Yeah, and I agree with Andy. You got to love Star Wars Lego. Yeah, I mean, Star Wars Lego is really great. I mean, in a lot of aspects. But I think for me, but I cannot. But you have to say it yourself. For me, the thing that I like about Lego, and especially Star Wars Lego, is there are two things. First, because it's Star Wars and I'm a Star Wars fan, and I've always been a Star Wars fan. I like the universe. I have been looking at a lot of books, comics, and also all the movies. And now I'm actually watching all of the animations, also the animation series, because I have Disney Plus. So for me, it makes perfect sense to watch them now. And I'm actually loving the whole charade, and then because of that, I also love having that in Lego. So that's again a physical thing. Is that the same for you, or is it something else?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I got into the serious Lego kits through Star Wars, and not everything I made was Star Wars. I've done a couple in the last 2 or 3 years that weren't Star Wars. I did the Beatles Yellow Submarine one, which was it was fairly small. It was a nice, like, weekend afternoon build, and turned out a nice, fun little yellow submarine model. And I also did the Apollo 11 lunar lander model last year. I think it was last year that came out. And that's another interest of mine, is space exploration and the U.S. space program and all of that. So that fit right in.
Yeah.
And one non-Star Wars one that is still sitting in a box looking at me, and I was almost ready to pop it open, but I haven't yet, is the Batman 66 Wayne Manor Batcave set. Ooh. It's kind of a big one. It's another one of those ones where I go, okay, where am I going to put it? Because
do you have the box with you? Can you show it?
Yeah, just a moment. Let me grab it.
Yeah,
you might have to zoom out. It's a big box, but
okay,
sure.
No worries. I'll just go quickly to my channel, because I want to say a little bit hi to the other people as well. In the meantime, it seems that Chris also has the Y-Wing, which is really cool. So great that we're all Y-Wing brothers and sisters here. Because I do also have a Y-Wing. I forgot to show that, I think. So let's show that very quickly. So there you go. That's my Y-Wing right there, which is really awesome. Let me say, oh yeah, Susan is in the house. Welcome, Susan. Great of you to be here. Dr. Elo himself is also in the house. Hello, hello, hello. And we also have Fiona in the house. Whoa, it's really a big happy family. But I see that Dave is back, so let's go back to him, and so that he can show what he has. Dave, show it.
Okay. I don't know if you can zoom out on this or not, but I'll try and do a slow pan. I can't see the screen at all, so you'll have to tell me if it's showing through.
Yeah, but so go a little bit up.
You've got the Batmobile, you've got the Bat motorcycle, the helicopter, you've got the cave, you've got a whole bunch of minifigs.
2,526 pieces. Wow.
So that's one that I'm trying to figure out when would be a good time to work on that.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the December month, right? I mean,
yeah, that looks like a good winter one.
Yeah,
and I'm inside for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Yeah, I mean that's also the way that I look at it. So in the summer, the Lego amount goes a little bit down, and it's mostly the smaller sets. Just like, yeah, let's do. I mean, like this one that I
I
just.
like to be outside during the summer, and building Legos outside is just asking for trouble.
Yeah, it
That's,
is definitely. Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. Let me see if there are some other comments in the meantime. I see that Susan, she said, I have never built a Lego anything, but the Lego store at Disney Springs in Orlando is pure joy. So that is interesting. So you love to be in the Lego store, Susan, but you're not buying Lego? What's going on with you?
the best of both worlds. You get to enjoy the really cool models without, piecing them together yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking about the other brand. That seems to be that it is indeed Leppen, like I said during our discussion. So that's good. Thank you, Chris, for pointing it out. Kathleen says Star Wars or Harry Potter and Lego for the win. I agree. So for me, well, it's about you, Dave, but just that people know, I am not fully only Star Wars. I do also have Harry Potter sets. I actually bought the Diagon Alley set, which is also huge, 5,500 pieces. That is my December project. Let me see what we have more. We all live in the yellow submarine, says Kathleen. That is definitely the case. And love the lunar lander, and Chris has it, and the Saturn V rocket as well. I own the Saturn V rocket. I don't know. Do you own it yourself?
I don't have that one. No.
It's quite huge.
But at least it's got a small footprint. It's one of those ones that goes, the hugeness is all straight up, and I can usually deal with that easier than the ones that need 3 by 3 feet to display them on.
So if you want to know where I put mine, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna just go to my shot here. I actually put mine not on this side, but right in between the trussing. It is. Oh, wait a second. Your audio is gone. Yeah. So that was interesting, right?
Yeah.
So let me remove this part, and it should be there. Sorry about that. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, that is the easy part of that indeed. Let me see. Question. We have a question. If I want to get started in Lego, where would I begin? So I think it's the question maybe for us both, but maybe Dave, you can start.
Well, I would say go maybe take a look at the Lego website. You can browse around what they've got. If you've got some interest area, Harry Potter, Star Wars, any of these things, Lego has actually managed to license quite a few things. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And just browse around. I would suggest browsing around on the site. Maybe start with a kit in the 500 to 1,000 piece area.
Yeah. I was about to say
the same
thing.
Petra.
Yeah, well, I would say like 400, the 400, 500 range. So
you can get really good ones in like the 500 range. You don't have to push it to 1,000 if you don't want to.
No, because it does take some time, and it is good for you to see if you really like it. And typically the 500 ones are roughly in the $60 range ish. Maybe 70, depending on the license that they have, because of course Star Wars Lego is a little bit more expensive than the other Legos that they have.
It's really kind of dramatic when you look at the Star Wars price for, say, a 1,500 piece kit versus a not necessarily licensed or less expensive license, and you can sure see what you're paying for the license.
I think it's 10% or something. It's a 10% add-on or something. It feels like that at least. But Yeah, definitely, Susan, get something that you're interested in. So if you know the movie or you just like how it looks like, and don't start with a major big one. For example, the Diagon
No.
Alley with 5,000 pieces. I would not recommend that. I mean, I am that this is a commitment, right? If you have a 5,000 pieces, that will take you at least 15 hours to build. So it's a
Yeah, the
big
Millennium
commitment.
Falcon.
Yeah.
The Millennium Falcon was, at least at the time, and I don't know if it's still the biggest one or if like the Star Destroyer came in
The
at more
Millennium Falcon's
pieces.
bigger.
And I kept track of my build time on that. And that was about 45 hours actually
Yeah.
sitting at the table putting them together
Yeah.
before that one was finished. So, and that's, you could decide how much time you might put in a day or a week on that, but it may be taking a table space for a couple of months in your house. So
Yeah.
plan for that too.
Yeah, it is.
On the really big ones.
It's a
There are
really
small
huge
ones that you can
commitment.
do on a
Yeah.
afternoon. And that's the place to start, is a small 1 or 2 day one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that does come to another question that I have is that how what do you do if you have a multi-day build? What do you do with the pieces? Do you keep it on the table, or are you doing
I
other
keep it on
stuff
the
with that?
table. I'm usually building these on a card table in the living room, and I live alone, so I've got a very reasonable roommate. So I can leave the table up for 2 months in the living room with a partially assembled Millennium Falcon on it, and no one complains.
That's
So
awesome. That's awesome. No, for me, what I do is because I have a cat, so I think that and I know Susan, for example, also has a cat. What I
I
typically
have a cat
do.
too.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So what I do is that I put it in these plastic big containers, like these sizes. So I put the half builds in there, and once they're done, then I put them somewhere else. But at least then I don't have to worry about my cat every time, which is I think great.
yeah,
And that being said, the way that Lego creates their boxes is that they have smaller plastic bags in them. So you don't have to have all of the pieces lined up on your table in one go. You can actually just
not
rip up.
anymore. You used to. It was such an innovation when they started numbering those bags rather than, okay, I'm on the first step and I have to open 20 bags and
Yeah,
spread 2,500 pieces on the table and spend 15 minutes looking for each next piece.
yeah,
When they moved to the numbered bags, it became so much nicer, and
yeah.
build time shrank because you weren't spending so much time looking for a single piece, which I think you maybe used to do some like that, or did you ever do any in that era?
Uh, so yeah. So I have to admit that no, I don't think that I was active in that era, to be
Oh, those were the
honest.
adult
So I
days.
always had these smaller bags, but I do have to admit that one thing that I've noticed is that because I have bad eyesight, I actually have to start with I believe the English term is nulling or something. So what I do is I sort out the different pieces a little bit in color and in sizes a little bit on
Yeah.
the table. So I have a bigger working area, and that I can actually find the pieces faster when building, because otherwise I have like,
Right.
where is
That's
that one
a
by one? Where is that thing?
good idea. Years ago, I built a Lego of the Imperial Shuttle, which is almost all white. It was like the stereotypical doing a jigsaw puzzle of a snowstorm thing. There was not a lot, at least on the outside. The inside superstructure could be blue or red or yellow or whatever they wanted. But by the time you got to the outside, it was all white of different sizes and shapes. And that was one where I was looking for single pieces for 15 or 20 minutes
Um,
because it was before they were numbering the bags and you had to put 2,000 pieces on your table and then look for the one you wanted. So, and
I don't know if I
three
would like
quarters of
that.
them are white.
I don't know if I would like that. I really don't. Oh, but
It really would.
Yeah.
Numbered bags were such an improvement. That was
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. So I do see a lot of comments again, so I have to go through them a little bit because otherwise we'll forget them, and that's. So Dr. Elo, he was happy that he started with the Mario Lego set. He thinks it's amazing. Have you looked at it?
Cool. I don't know that one.
Yeah.
Is it just sort of like a representation of the game screen with the different levels that Mario is running up? That sounds like it could work in Lego.
I think what I saw about it is that it is a Lego build, and there's this Mario, which is like a let's say a computerized figure. It's a little bit bigger. It's like this size.
Oh, okay. He's bigger than the standard minifig.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And he then, depending on where he is in the set, he does something, or you can add points or so. So it seems to be like a real game, but I'm debating if I like that part. I don't know. So Dr.
I'm gonna have to go look that one up.
Yeah.
I'm curious now.
Yeah. Yeah, so we agree with Andy. Yes, he says start small and work up to big. I totally agree with that. Let me see. Knowing the number of pieces to start is helpful, Susan says. So there you go. And the cool part is, Susan, that in the US, they actually print the amount of pieces on the box. So that makes it really easy for you guys. Not here in Europe.
And it'll be on the website too. If you're shopping the website, that's just one of the little bits of data they tell you about the thing.
Yeah. So here in Europe, they don't print that for some reason, and they do in the US. And I think that it does make sense to put it on because, for me, I don't care about price per piece. To be honest, that's a thing within the Lego world. I don't care about that, but I do care about the size of it because I want to know what I'm buying, basically. That's it.
Yeah, it helps you know how big it's going to be, what kind of display space you're talking about, also how long it's going to take to build, how much of a commitment it is.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And on Lego.com, you also see the size of it. So the amount of inches or centimeters is also printed on the website as well. So
yeah, and if it's one that comes with a minifig, that gives you, they're like, what, 1.5 inches tall?
Yeah.
So you can, that was kind of one of my questions when we haven't talked about it yet, but the Cantina set that just got announced and is starting to be rolled out. Someone in this conversation may actually have one. I don't know. But I was curious. One of my first questions was, looks great. How big is it? How big? And I haven't really seen any kind of description of width times depth, but it has lots of minifigs, so you can kind of scale it by all of the minifigs standing around it in the picture.
Right. So I have to admit, I have it. I have one. I created a picture today. Of where I am at the moment. So here is my. It's in the plastic bag, as you can see, and this is roughly what it is. So it's. I have to admit that I don't know what it is in inches, but it's doable. It's not that it is huge. Don't get me wrong. But you can really, you can make it very small, so you can put it aside and you can open it up. It's a very modular piece of Lego. So there's one that is really centered. So one piece, you can actually hold it with one hand. That's possible. But you can also open it up, and then it becomes this wide. It's really a wide set, so you can depending on the location where you want to display it, you can open it up fully or making it small. And there's also an add-on building as well. There are two land speeders there as well. So it's quite a nice set. But I am just at bag number 5 of 18. So we just talked about bags. So I still have a long way to go before I'm done. So, oh.
Yeah, it looks like you said, modular. It's got a lot of parts to it. And when I say parts, I mean after everything it's assembled, it still has parts. It has standalone buildings. It's got the main cantina building, which is hinged, and you can hinge it closed or fold it open. It's got, not unlike that Batman set I showed, it's got a bunch of vehicles that can be around it peripherally, and you can arrange those depending on what your display space allows.
Yeah.
So it does look like, and that's probably one reason why there's been little mention of a size, is the size is so variable depending on exactly how you want to set it up.
Right. This one is a question well, not a question, it's just a remark from Kathleen. And I have to admit that I don't know what it is about, so maybe you know. This was a bummer Lego didn't decide to add the Ministry Science Theater.
Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah. So that might
I'm trying to... Were they talking about that, or I don't remember if they had one, or it sounds like she's saying they didn't do one. There's certainly a bunch of stuff there. Do you have any familiarity with that, or do you have no idea what we're talking about when we say Mystery Science Theater 3000? There's your research project for when we get offline. You can go look that up.
The
internet will tell you all about it.
So Kathleen says plan to build up. Plan for the build to take up space and keep the vacuum away. That's a good quote. That's another thing. So indeed, Kathleen, that you hit the needle right on its head. So one thing that is a problem with Lego is that they attract dirt. They attract stuff. The way that I do have some here located in my studio. Here you have the Slave 1, for example. But I'm planning to have like a display case fully enclosed with glass for my UCS and Master Builder series sets. And that will be here in October somewhere. But do you have them just opened up across your house, or are you also having like a display?
Those I've got just open. I hate to be the one to tell you, but even a glass case manages to suck dust into it. If there's like a couple of millimeter slot between the doors, all the dust in the world shoots through that couple of millimeter slot. But it's better. It's not like being completely open. But it's Legos. This the TIE Fighter I showed off, that's been hanging from the ceiling in a room for several years, and I pulled it down for the first time for this show, and it had a little bit of dust on it. I had to give it a little bit of a cleanup. And to some extent my cleaning was successful, and to some extent it may not have been. It's tricky. I would probably recommend, if you're trying to clean dust off Legos, there's an arcane conversation. If you're trying to clean dust off Legos, maybe a damp paper towel, very carefully blotting. That might be your best bet for getting around all of those hundreds of little pegs, the gap between every one of which is a dust catcher.
Yeah, I mean, I know that also in glass it will be a problem, but I do think it's getting a little bit less than out of the open.
It's less. Dust is like air; it will get where it can get.
But that's the way it goes. So,
but the more you can, the smaller you can make the opening, the better. Most of my Legos are out.
Another set that you might be interested in, and it's actually a question of Chris. Did any of you get the Star Wars Bespin Jewel?
Now, I'm thinking that's the big round one. It's almost like a section off of the Death Star one. No, the Bespin Duel is different.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got a Cloud City set. I'm thinking of probably a Cloud City set or something. The Bespin Duel is more of a linear one. That's sort of where Luke and Darth Vader were fighting, right? Like going out.
Yeah. So this year, the Lego wanted to, well, like every 2 years, I think it is, that Lego. There is a Star Wars. What is it called? Not Star Wars Anniversary, but Star Wars Celebration. That's the Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, Star Wars Celebration.
That's the name.
Thing. Yeah.
And that's every I think every 2 years or maybe every year. And
yeah, it's about every 2 years.
Yeah, and this year there was a one planned, and typically what they do is that Lego provides a limited edition set because of that. Now, because of COVID, it was not released. Because of COVID, the celebration didn't continue. But well, it was already ready. So the idea was ready. They had the packaging ready. They had everything good to go. So Lego decided to make that set available, so you can actually purchase it on Lego.com, only in the United States and Canada.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they.
Wait for it. I actually have to. I have the technology to do this. I have the technology to really say. But but in all fairness, Chris, yes, I will get it. It's on its way. So I have arranged it so that I get it, but I have to wait a little bit longer than somebody else. But it's on its way. But it's quite difficult to get it.
It was crazy how fast, the Cantina set was kind of offered for Lego VIP collectors. VIP is like a customer loyalty thing where they give you points for purchases, and you can eventually roll that into discounts off of purchases, which is kind of cool. But they opened up the Cantina to be sold to VIP members first, I think on the 16th, like just a couple of days ago. And I got on the evening of the 16th and they were sold out. So they're like concert tickets where you have to be right there the minute they go on sale. And same day, just a few hours after it had gone on sale, nope, you snooze, you lose, you're out. So I'm waiting for Petra. Petra was there. She was with her finger on the refresh button. But
I was actually what happened was that I know that from another time. Is that I now know that once Lego provides this kind of stuff, you need to be trigger happy. You need to click on it and do whatever you can. And so actually what I did was at 12 o'clock, midnight, I went online and checked it out, but it was not available. I woke up at 1 o'clock a.m. I said, okay, let's try it again. It was not available. I woke up at 5 a.m. It was not available. Only at 10 a.m. in that morning it became available, and I purchased it like immediately because I checked it at 9:30. It was not there, and I checked it again at 10 o'clock, and then it was there. And it's like, okay, now I'm just clicking. And the reason why I was clicking in the early morning was that during that few hours in the morning, I saw things changing on Lego.com. It's like, they're working on it at the moment. So I was
it's like really the old days when the Apple store used to go down. The Apple store is down, and that meant they were going to be putting new product on. Now they put new product on without taking the site down. But
that's a bit. It was a marketing thing, obviously. But what they did here is that they started to bring on the if you're a VIP, you can purchase a most likely set, and it will be available today, 16th of September. It's like, okay, click. And then it says soon, October 30th. That's that's not. Oh, no, October 1st. Sorry, October 1st. So, no, it's 16th of September. So it's like but I got it. And there was also don't break it. And now breaking it, of course. And there's also a additional promo that you can get with it. That's Yoda's lightsaber. There you go.
Yeah.
And that's the one right there. So I also have that one, which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just a small set, but it's really cool to do it anyway.
It's always nice. They throw it in for free. I thought for a free throw-in kit, it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I think so too. Kathleen says, have you started to see the new paper bags of the parts yet? Yes, I did see a news outlet of Lego.com, and that they were planning to test out the paper bags. So they asked kids if they liked the paper bags, which is quite interesting because in my opinion, I don't believe that kids are really looking into that kind of stuff. I think it's really their parents, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But
yeah,
I don't know. I understand that from a perspective of the environment. I understand that paper needs to be done instead of plastic. But to be honest, like it was one big piece of plastic, right? So, what? I don't know. I'm debating it at the moment. I don't know what to think about it.
You're plastic wrapped in plastic, or you're plastic wrapped in paper.
Yeah, exactly. What else? Well, let me check what this is. So I was targeted as a red card exclusive. That's how I got it. Red card exclusive. What is that? Is that a VIP?
It sounds like somebody's VIP. Yeah, it's a VIP for Target, which is a store at least in the US. I don't know if you've got those over there or not, but yeah.
We don't have Target.
No Target.
No, we don't have
Target, as we call it when we're trying to be fancy.
Yeah, so indeed, we're talking about the Bestman set. That's probably because the event was going to be in the US this year. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Chris. But on the other hand, being a worldwide company with worldwide audience, with a worldwide team, come on. Why do this? I hate that one.
They probably had them already made in a warehouse, and they went, go back to production to make enough worldwide and sell it online, or just sell the inventory we've got.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, you know it will sell. Come on, it's not that. I know that you want to make it exclusive. It's probably that they want to make it exclusive, but then make it exclusive across the world. Just say it's limited to I don't know, like 5,000 pieces per country or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Oh, Susan is checking something out. Now I'm cruising the Lego site. Howard Castle looks amazing. Yeah, that is a nice set. $450, I believe it is, on top of my head. That is a really nice set, Susan. It does have micro figures, so that is a smaller set. So it's not the ones that Dave just showed. Those are minifigures that are smaller figures there, but it's a really nice display set. Definitely a very nice set. Let me see. Oh no, I don't have any place to display something that size. I saw it in the local Lego store. Yeah, that is always a problem, right?
That is a problem.
Yeah. Chris wants to have that saber. Well, I mean, Chris, go get it. You just have to ask. No Target, that's wild. Well, we do have our own brands here, of course, but no Target. I know that there are Targets in Australia, but we do have our own brands here as well, though different. I don't know how to explain that. Oh, that's a good one. I agree with Chris. I really want the haunted house. I had the
Yeah,
first one,
I've,
and
I've
the new
noticed
one looks
that one.
good. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And Chris, if you want to have the Haunted House, you also should look at the Lightmar bricks set that they have with to bring in some lights there, and maybe put that on the back of your set because it's really nice. It's really nice. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Anywho, so yeah, we talked about that. So Dave, what are what is the next Lego set that you want to purchase?
Oh, well, the next one is probably going to be the Cantina as soon as Lego decides to let me buy it. I don't. They've probably shot through their initial VIP allotment, so the next time is probably going to be October 1st when they open it to the general public, and I think I'll probably get that one then. Another one that I thought looked kind of cool, and it's a small one, or relatively small, smaller time commitment, is the little robot Dio from Rise of Skywalker. And it's that robot in the movie is small enough that the Lego model of it is probably like, like half scale or something, or half or two-thirds scale. And they did a really nice job on it. Looks like a simple one. It's probably in the size range we were recommending, 500 to 1,000 pieces. I'm not sure
Yeah,
exactly how many it is, but it's in that range. And that's one that I've got my eye on that I would like to get before it disappears, because I thought it just looked like a
yeah. It
cool
is a
little one.
it's a 2019
Small enough.
set, so yeah, it will probably
Yeah,
be end of life in half a year or so. I think roughly.
yeah. So it's a small enough subject to begin with that they managed to put in quite a bit of really good detail on
Yeah,
it
yeah,
on a
yeah.
Lego scale. So
Yeah, I have it in the box here in my condo.
uh,
I'm still, the thing is with Lego, I have like a big backlog, and the reason why I do that is that I do that during the winter, and it's like I just
yeah,
purchase a few things so that I have them, and then just start whenever I have the feel for it.
years ago I was cleaning out a closet and I see a bunch of Lego boxes up on a top shelf, and I just put them up there on the top shelf because I didn't have time for them at the time.
Yeah.
And one of them just had a code number on it. It didn't even say the name of the product on the end of the box.
Wow.
It just had the Lego serial number code, which is 4 or 5 digits.
Right.
And I said, okay, I'm going to do one of those things you can only do in the 21st century. I'm going to Google that number and see what Lego set is on the top of my shelf so I don't climb up there and get it.
Right.
And I did that, and it turns out it's the turbo clone tank from one of the prequels. And I went, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll have to build that someday. Since it's in
That's
the
really
toy
cool.
store on top of my closet. Okay.
Nice. One thing it caught my eye, and I really have to talk about it. On the right hand side, is that the Death Star? Do you own the Death Star? On the right
Yeah,
hand
yeah. The Death Star it's over my shoulder right here. You
Right,
can
right
sort of
there,
see
yeah.
it in silhouette right up there. Yeah.
Nice. That's a nice set. I'm gonna build that one
Yeah,
day.
that may have been the biggest. I think it was. I think that was the biggest one I built at that time. I built that before the Millennium Falcon, and
Wow.
that was sitting on my dining room table for a while. But
Yeah.
it's very it's very impressive. It's got all of these different rooms in it, and just about every room has some sort of little action feature in it.
Right.
Little things you wouldn't expect. It's got like Obi-Wan Kenobi shutting down the tractor beam. It's got a little transparent piece of blue plastic that slides up and down to indicate the light column shutting down.
Right. Right.
Uh, Trash compactor, the walls move. The big moving piece of that, and it's probably the most challenging part of the entire kit, is a big gearbox that runs the laser dish, and you can pivot the laser dish. It's got like a little knob you can turn, and it pitches and it yaws and all of this stuff. And
Oops.
that is one thing. Got a little excited there.
No, no
That
worries
is
about
the one part of that kit that you have to build painstakingly because it is a geared mechanism, and if you get something off by one, it will not work.
it. Wow.
But that's a cool bit on that one.
Yeah, and if I look at myself, I think that one of the ones that I'm also looking at is the Nintendo one that they just released, which is quite an interesting one.
The one that's supposed to look like a console, or the one,
the console,
that's another one of
with
those.
an old TV set, and that TV set
that was cool.
That looks really cool.
And you could do a little 8-bit picture on the TV screen.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
So I'm considering that one. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it because again it's a lot of money, but it's definitely one that is on my plate. And I do see Chris, and we're gonna he is considering a custom set, a Polaroid SX70 probably camera, I presume.
Oh. Cool.
So that's cool.
Chris and I have talked about SX70s.
So yeah, I mean, Chris, we really need to talk during one of these shows about your Lego stuff because I'm sure that you also have a big collection and a lot to say because of your toys company that you had in the past, but also still have. So I'm really looking forward to that. Dave, I want to, looking at the time, I really would like to thank you for this really cool conversation.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, but definitely a lot of fun, and we should do it one more time. And of course, whenever I'm stateside again, I will drop by in Seattle to see you. And
find something cool to do in Seattle. Sure.
Well, probably there's a lot to do there, and I recall us going to Mopop it was called, right?
Mopop, the Museum of Popular Culture. And we were very, very lucky when you were visiting last time. They happened to have a touring Star Trek exhibit. So they had costumes and models and props and all of this stuff from the original Star Trek series. It was very, very cool.
Yeah, my geeky heart went like to the roof. I was so happy with that day. Thank you so much for being here, and guys, if you like this kind of content, please do not forget to on Facebook like the page, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and go and watch other videos that we create about the reviews of your favorite Star Wars sets, but also other sets coming your way from Harry Potter, and I also have already one Marvel set coming also. So that's cool stuff that is coming. Before we stop, just a quick shout out to the people. So Chris, thanks, and he wants to have a Lego one next time is for real. Oh, that's about the camera, of course. Yep. The stream, he wants to have a stream together. We will definitely do that, Chris. No worries. And Mopop is really cool. He knows that as well. And Dr. Elo says it's awesome. But maybe the show is awesome, but Dave is really awesome. And you guys that are watching this during the show are absolutely awesome. And also, if you see this after the fact, please write down whatever the comments are, and I'm sure that we can find something out and have a good time. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. And of course, then I want to say one more thing, and that is, of course, thank you, Dave.
Thank you for having me on. This has been fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye.